Morning, and thank you for being with us today and telling your story. This story has knocked everybody for a loop, and we are so sorry for the loss of your son. And you've spent 2 months fighting for justice for your son. Why did it take 2 months for anything to happen in this case?
Well, initially, I was told the night of the incident by one of the investigators who was working the crime scene. He reached out. He told me that my son was involved in a burglary. And in the midst of the burglary, Ahmaud was confronted by the homeowner. And at that time of the confrontation, there was a fight over the handgun, and Ahmaud was shot and killed.
Wanda, when you first received a phone call from the police the day that your son was killed, what did they tell you had happened? And did you believe this story when you were told it?
Okay, initially, the night of the incident, I was contacted by one of the investigators who was actually working the scene, and he said that Ahmaud was involved in a burglary. And in the midst of the burglary, Ahmaud was confronted by the homeowner, and at that time there was a fight over the firearm, and Ahmaud was shot and killed.
Did you believe that story?
Well, actually, I did, because I wasn't there. I did not know what had happened, and I did not think that I would be receiving anything that wasn't true coming from that type of authority. So yes, ma'am, I did believe it.
Attorney Merritt, the McMichaels told police that they thought Ahmaud could be a burglary suspect. So they got in their car with shotguns and followed him. The first 2 DAs on the case decided to recuse themselves because of their ties to Gregory McMichael as a former police officer and investigator in the office. One of those DAs, George Barnhill, said charges were not brought against the suspects because their actions fell within the scope of Georgia's citizens arrest statute, and that a struggle with a gun made the shooting justified as self-defense. What do you make of this? I know what I make of it, but what do you make of it?
Well, it's a series of poor excuses. As you heard Ms. Cooper just say, the first thing she was told was that her child was burglarizing a home and was killed by the homeowner. Now, that's the kind of situation where you may be able to use deadly force, but the situation that actually happened, the one that's revealed on that video, is starkly different from the initial claims. And now this sort of retroactive way of saying, oh, we were doing a citizen's arrest, actually, because we thought he was burglarizing a place is not going to be the kind of defense that is going to work for under the citizen's arrest statute. Because under that statute, you actually have to see someone committing a crime in order to place them under arrest.
So, Mr. Merritt, the video of Ahmaud's killing was released online last week by a defense attorney who had been in contact with the McMichaels. Why do you think this defense attorney released this video, and why wasn't it used as evidence in the case for the past 2 months?
Right, and so I want to be clear, although he released that to the public initially anonymously, law enforcement had it the day of. They reviewed it the day of and decided to not make any arrests. Every district attorney that recused themselves from this case had that video in their file. And still took no action. So it was really that video coming out to the public that caused this huge backlash, and where we actually started to see some arrests being made. Now, I found it very strange that a defense attorney who had consulted with the McMichaels released that video. And he said he just wanted to clear up some inconsistencies that were out there. Specifically, he said there wasn't guys in a rebel flag chasing after a guy. Instead, what happened was much, much worse. You had guys, no rebel flag or no warning, who ambushed Ahmaud and killed him.
Can you explain to me who exactly shot that video in the first place, and why aren't they being investigated?
The video was shot by a man named William Bryant. He goes by Roddy. He is a friend of the McMichaels. He's a member of that community. He is under investigation by the GBI. We expect enough evidence to be gathered to get him to get a warrant out for his arrest this week. But he is now claiming that he was just driving around and he noticed a guy running. He wanted to get his picture, and so he took out his camera. We know that not to be true because previous statements by the McMichaels in the police report said that Roddy had participated in blocking Ahmaud in when Ahmaud tried to run away from them. He was there in the background, and I believe that if you listen closely to that video, we might be hearing the sound of a gun cock as he approaches the scene. I have experts reviewing that video, and we're trying to confirm that now.
Ms. Cooper-Jones, you've said that without this video, your son's death would have been a cover-up. How do you feel now that Gregory and Travis McMichael have finally been arrested?
I feel better. I now have a sense of hope. At one point in the beginning, I didn't have any hope that anything would ever be done about it because I was getting all conflicting information.